host tonight, and we're going to go right into what we've got going on. We have a lot of great stuff happening tonight. The first thing I want to highlight here is that we have gaming and LARPing happening. If you're looking for something cool to do late at night, it's awesome. Werewolf on the 14th floor of the Westin. Werewolf After Dark on the 14th floor of the Westin. And they're going to be there till 4 a.m. It's 8 p.m. is when it starts, and then all the way to 4 a.m. You've got all night to have some amazing fun. It's great. I also want to take a moment to kind of give you a heads up on our guests tonight. We have two really special guests with us tonight. The first is Stephen Taylor, who is the president and CEO of the Arthritis Foundation, which is the official 2024 DragonCon charity partner. And of course, DragonCon will be matching up to $125,000 in donations. So that means $250,000. If we can get to 125 in donations, 250 will end up going to the Arthritis Foundation. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. But our other guest is Nich Lyle, who's a mental health and safety advocate throughout the geek community, but is also pretty cool into cosplay. So we're going to talk to Nich as well. But before we get to all that, I would be remiss if I didn't highlight that we have a few important pieces of DragonCon happening. The first is the Robert A. Heinlein Pay It Forward blood drive. That's our blood drive with Life South. This year, we are, it's still at the Hyatt. It's the same spot it's always been there. And of course, by donating blood, not only you're going to help save lives, you're going to actually be able to get a really cool t-shirt. But not just the t-shirt, because the t-shirt is every year. This year, we actually have 3 pins that Life South will be giving out. The first one will be just for donating blood. The second will be for donating blood in a specific way, which is known as double. And the third will be actually for something. I completely forgot my pins. Donating tomorrow, specifically on Saturday. Cells, that would get you another pin, and then you can collect the set by doing that tomorrow. It's awesome. I highly recommend you take some time to do it. It's a wonderful thing to not only do to help others, but also to make sure that it's your way to give back to the community. And I hope you're able to do that. It is wonderful, awesome, fantastic. Now, moving on from the blood drive, before I go, one thing I want to mention is we've already had so far, and this is as of this afternoon, 800 donors already for the blood drive. And 100 of those have been double red donors. Those are actual elite donors who have given that double red. It takes a little bit of extra time, but it's so worth it. The plasma, the double red cells, the platelets, those are essential. And it's something that means something to me. My mom, who sadly passed away a few years ago, she had a condition that needed blood to transfuse her, and it helped her. And it's one of those things, if it weren't for a blood drive, she may not have had that. So it's very important, and it means something to me, but it means something to so many people everywhere. Of course, we do have, speaking of the charity again, we do have the DragonCon Coloring Book Volume 4 right here. I actually have it in hand. It's really awesome. This is actually featuring cover art of the 70th anniversary of Godzilla. You can see that right on your screen there. You can get this at any of the charity events that are happening. It's $10, and I have that copy here. I'm going to tell you, this is amazing. The art this year has not disappointed. I'm looking at so many fantastic pieces. And as I said, I don't color in them. I let my spouse do that. But it's really, really cool. And the art just on the cover itself is really neat, and the ducks on the back, which I just happen to love. It's awesome. And by purchasing a coloring book, you will be helping raise awareness. And of course, you'll be donating directly to the Arthritis Foundation. So not only do you get to help the Arthritis Foundation, our charity partner, but you get to take something really cool home with you that I'm just telling you, it's a special piece of the con. For me, every year, it is just fantastic. All right, and speaking of that coloring book, I want to just tell you that we do have the Coloring for Charity in the Hyatt's Learning Center tonight from 7 p.m. till midnight. So right after the show gets done, you can be right there, and it's awesome. You also have charity booths that are going to be at the Marriott Art Show, or excuse me, at the charity events booth at the Marriott, the art show here at the Hyatt, and also at the Comic and Pop Artist Alley over in the America's Mart. And they'll be there throughout the con. You can donate to get the book. It is fantastic. Thank you to the art show for helping host a lot of what we've got going on here, and especially for the book here today. I want to also keep in mind that the DragonCon charity auction will be happening throughout the weekend. And that charity art auction, you can go check out the pieces at the art show, which is here in the Hyatt. Now, every year, we've got so much going on, and this year we have a really great segment to show you. We actually have something going on with 80s prom. Let's check it out.
Hi, at DragonCon. See you all the way from the 80s. You guys having a great time tonight?
Yeah. Oh yeah, having a great time.
Yeah, love the music. Who are you?
I am many things. People say I'm Eddie Munson. People say I'm Garth from Wayne's World. People say I'm Dee Snider. I'm really none of those things, but I'm whoever they want me to be, you know?
And what high school do you represent?
Hawkins High School from Stranger Things. 86, baby, 86. This is my year.
We had fun at the prom, and we hope you have fun at DragonCon. See you later.
Thank you, Chaz, for that awesome piece there. I have to say that looked phenomenal, and I look forward to next year's prom. I don't want to wait any longer. We've got Stephen here, Stephen Taylor. Welcome. It's great to have you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
You're the CEO and president of the Arthritis Foundation.
That is correct.
Tell me, what is the Arthritis Foundation?
So the Arthritis Foundation is a national organization with chapters around the country. We have thousands of volunteers and hundreds of staff that work to help patients that have arthritis, various forms. And I think what's exciting about our partnership is we are a community of patients that come together to connect with each other, help each other, connect with each other, just like members and the community of DragonCon.
Oh, that is so cool. And you know, what is your goal as the Arthritis Foundation? What are your goal marks? What are you looking to do?
Sure. Well, I think the most important thing that the Arthritis Foundation does is connect other patients with each other. Okay. Of course, patient education is very important to us, making sure patients have the education and the empowerment to get the health care they deserve and need to have to treat their diseases.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, our research program is extremely strong in regards to funding research that's going to unlock the mystery of the various forms of arthritis.
Wow, that's phenomenal. And I suspect that the Arthritis Foundation also has a hand in the actual research itself.
Sure.
You know, tell me about that. How does that come to be?
Yeah. So we focus on a number of areas of arthritis. There's nearly 100 forms of arthritis in the United States.
Wow.
Nearly 60 million people in the U.S. have the disease. And it's not just your grandmother's disease. People think of arthritis as an older person's disease, but all ages end up with arthritis. We have children diagnosed with juvenile arthritis as young as 3 months old. We have young adults diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis or gout or psoriatic arthritis. And of course, we have osteoarthritis, which affects about 30 million Americans, which is what your grandparents might have. However, a lot of young athletes and military members end up with osteoarthritis, and those that have an injury can end up with something called post-traumatic osteoarthritis. So we do a lot of research in those areas, trying to figure out how we can treat those patients better and faster to slow down the progression of any of the forms of arthritis.
That's phenomenal. I mean, and I can see how impactful that is. My mother-in-law has rheumatoid arthritis, and it's not just a simple little, oh, my hands hurt. It can be debilitating.
Correct.
And that's just one type of the hundreds that are out there.
Exactly.
I actually had a lot of misunderstanding with it prior to my mother-in-law. What are some of the misconceptions out there? What would you tell someone that they probably don't realize?
Sure. I think the one misconception is people think of osteoarthritis or arthritis as a grandmother's disease or grandparent's disease, and it's not. It also is the #1 disabling disease in the United States, causing people to have to give up their careers and being able to live the life they thought they were going to be able to live. So
it changes everything.
It does, and that's why even our ribbons here at this at DragonCon say Champion of Yes, because we want people to be able to say yes to more things and not have to say no to things, because once diagnosed or having a disabling disease like arthritis can really cause them to have to not be able to have the life they want. So we want people to be champions of yes and really saying yes to more things. And so our research and education and empowerment for our patients is so important.
So it's not, I can't do this any longer. It's I can do this, and I now can do this.
Exactly. Recreating yourself, redefining yourself after a diagnosis, and also coming up with solutions that can help make your life better as well.
Wow, that's phenomenal. You know, your journey to president and CEO with this, how did you get there? Where did you what brought you on this journey?
Yeah. So I've been in nonprofit since college, working in heart disease and cancer, and then ended up in the chronic disease space, which arthritis is a chronic disease. There's no cure for them, but people live with it a long time. And so I really found my sweet spot in the chronic disease space because I want to help empower people to find solutions, to be able to live their life that they want to live. And then, of course, fund research that's going to unlock the mystery, which is so important for all of our patients.
Wow. And if you want to give to the Arthritis Foundation, just speaking to you all out there, we actually have that QR code up there. And you can actually take a scan of that QR code. It will let you go directly to that. So we're going to show that here again for you. That QR code for the Arthritis Foundation, you scan that with your phone and it will let you go right there. But you can also get there from the DragonCon website as well. And I want to talk about a few more things here. You talked about your journey. You talked about specifically with chronic illness. Was there anything in your life that, how did you even get started into the space of nonprofit? What took you that direction?
Yeah, and I appreciate the question. So I ended up at the Cancer Society out of college because my father passed away of cancer in college.
So sorry to hear that.
And then my mom ended up with a chronic disease later in life. And so I ended up working in the autoimmune disease space, which rheumatoid arthritis is, and kind of just continued that trajectory to help chronic disease patients be able to live the life they want to live. And then amongst that journey, I was diagnosed with a form of arthritis. I have gout.
Oh my goodness.
I was diagnosed in my late 30s with gout. And so I live with that, which 9 million people in the U.S. have gout, which is mostly men have the disease, but some women are diagnosed.
Sure.
Can be very debilitating, can be very painful. And so I kind of have a personal journey as well now, helping with arthritis.
Wow, that's phenomenal. In terms of preventative care, what does the Arthritis Foundation promote or do in preventative care?
I think it's important for patients to always talk with their primary care physician, no matter what symptom they may have. They may think it's a minor ache or pain, but it's so important for their primary care physician to track all of those aches and pains over a lifetime so they can maybe diagnose faster and earlier so they can get on a treatment that will help them. No matter what the ache and pain, even if it's not arthritis, you should talk to your doctor about things you're noticing in your life as well, which is critical. And I think that really helps patients be able to get ahead of something before they're diagnosed as well.
That's phenomenal. And I have, one thing I would ask, if you could say one thing to anyone out there who's watching this that you think they would need to know, what would that be?
I think that the one thing people should know is that their diagnosis of arthritis happens at all ages, and that people need to know that it affects everybody. And so not to necessarily think about that older person, but think about all these people that are living with this disease that you see with a cane or having challenges, or you might not have it's an invisible disease as well, to make sure that they understand that people out there, that 60 million people in the U.S. have a form of arthritis. That's a lot of people. And just imagine those kids that are diagnosed at 3 months, 3 years, 10 years old, and how it changes their kind of trajectory of their life as well.
That's amazing. I hope everyone out there is able to donate. What do the donations mean to the organization, to the foundation?
Yeah, first of all, thank you to DragonCon for choosing the Arthritis Foundation. It's so important that we get the information out about arthritis, so we truly appreciate that. The funds are going to not only help in the Atlanta area, but it will help nationwide with many of our research and awareness programs, as well as help with our juvenile arthritis programs, such as our sleepaway camps for kids and our JA days where we bring families together in local communities to get to meet other kids that are diagnosed with their disease. And so it'll help with all of those areas as well, and it's so important.
It sounds like it's not just money support. You have so many areas that you're trying to help focus on, from I would imagine emotional well-being, mental well-being,
absolutely,
all the way to the physical,
yeah,
and family as well. It's not just the person who's affected; their entire family, their friends, their loved ones, they're all affected.
I always say it's like throwing a stone in the river with the ripple effect. It goes through the whole family, it goes through their career, everything in their life as well. And your next guest is going to talk a lot about mental health, which is so exciting because I think it's important that we talk about it, and we're not ashamed to talk about mental health and how important it is in all of our lives. But when you're diagnosed with a chronic illness, mental health does play into that as well. So we do a lot in mental health space, as well as nutrition and exercise, to help patients be able to just be as healthy as they can as a full body.
Thank you, Stephen. This is wonderful to have you here today. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you.
Yes.
And we're going to go ahead and take a quick step to something pretty cool here with Ryan. Let's check it out.
I'm Ryan from DragonConTV, and I'm here at the Center for Puppetry Arts. Please tell us who you are and what you're known for. Well, my name is Karen Prell. I was the original puppeteer and voice for Red Fraggle on the original Fraggle Rock series. And then recently, I've also been performing Red in Fraggle Rock Back to the Rock on Apple TV+.
I'm John Tartaglia. I grew up watching the original Fraggle Rock and was an obsessed fan, and I'm so lucky that now I get to be part of Fraggle Rock Back to the Rock, and I play Gobo, Sprocket, Berry Blueberry, Gunge, and an Architect User.
How does it feel to be guest of DragonCon?
I love DragonCon. It's so fun. Just love the energy and the joy of the fans. And I'm so glad that we're doing even more this year with DragonCon and bringing more of the Fraggle people in to share in the fun.
Is there something you're looking forward to most this weekend?
I think it's the creativity. Everything is on the table and everything's unexpected. It's a place for people to bring their creativity and bring their imagination, and that's so much of what we do with puppetry, so it just feels like they go hand in hand.
I get a real master and apprentice vibe. This relationship you two have been able to form with each other, the growing up making it, growing up watching it, and now bringing that together to form something completely new.
I was so nervous to walk on set and work with Karen for the first time as Red. We had this amazing, beautiful, instant chemistry, and I think that came because I felt comfortable because Karen was so welcoming.
For me, my experience working on Fraggle Rock, I was like the new kid on the block, and I was still learning, so I was wonderfully welcomed and supported when I was joining my heroes. They welcomed me and treated me as an equal.
What's something you learned from John that surprised you?
I'm really impressed by how he is able to spin his character in place. When you're standing and you're holding up the puppet, it is offset from your body, so when you have to spin in place, your body has to rotate around your arm, and it's really tricky. Whenever Johnny, I was watching something, Gobo coming in doing a spin, and it lined up, and it just looks so good.
So is there a term for that move in the industry?
I think we better call it the Tartaglia.
Tartaglia?
Heard it here first.
Would you mind judging my Tartaglia?
Let's hear it.
So up here, right?
Yeah.
Rotate around your
Keep
arm.
this still.
Okay. It's actually not bad.
It's not bad.
actually
That's not bad. Nice Tartagliing.
I love the intense focus you have.
Yes,
right now, too.
yes.
So this exhibit is showcasing puppets from not only the Back to the Rock, but the original. So tell us, Karen, what's your favorite part of this exhibit?
Seeing people's reactions when they come in here and they see these things in person that they have loved on video. So seeing that it adds to people's excitement about the show, seeing how it was made.
I think people getting a chance to see everything up close. I also love all the detail that was put into the exhibit, by the museum, just making it look like the caves of the Fraggle Rock and all the postcards and everything like that. I mean, it just takes a lot of time and effort, and they obviously put that all in. I love all the behind-the-scenes secrets that I think when you're a fan of something, you want to know how that's done.
Is there any tease for the future you could share with us?
At DragonCon, we have so many puppeteers from the new Fraggle series together with the puppets, probably the first time since we were in production. And we're going to be talking about performing, about the history of the show, doing some music and songs, just all kinds of wonderful, wonderful Fraggly events all throughout DragonCon.
I'm ready to Fraggle Rock.
And before we go, because you are such a fan of the show, and you've done such a great job, I think it's on Karen and I to give you the ability to become an official honorary Fraggle. Would you like to become an honorary Fraggle?
I'm quivering with excitement.
Okay, I think it is time for the solemn oath of the Fraggles.
Right, repeat
You
after
ready?
us.
Repeat
Ready?
after us.
All right.
Weeba, weeba,
Weeba, weeba.
waffa, waffa,
Waffa, waffa.
garpox, gumbidge,
Garpox, gumbidge.
whoopee!
Whoopee!
You are an honorary Fraggle!
Yes!
Woo!
What a great honor. Thank you so much. Well, I gotta say, I've never had more fun talking to two creative fans and just wonderful people. Thank you for talking with me.
Thank you, and thank you, DragonCon, for bringing the Fraggles back. Woohoo!
Woo!
Ryan, that was absolutely Fraggalicious. I thought that was great. I want to go ahead and write to see our next guest. Nich Lyle is a special mental health advocate, but really you're kind of like a cosplay therapist.
I am, yeah.
So tell me more about you. I noticed you have, when I was looking, you have a lot of letters that are after your name. MED, LCMHC, CDBT. Like, what does all that mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a lot of letters to say that I'm a therapist and I like to specialize in working on what's between the ears, right?
Yeah.
But I'm a licensed clinical mental health counselor, a certified dialectical behavior therapist, and I have a master's of education.
Oh, wow. Sounds like a lot of school.
It is, yes. It's just constant learning, but I'm such a nerd that I love it. Like, I love getting those additional certifications because I want to know like as much as I can to help the people I work with.
When you're working with someone and you have those specific certifications, what has that helped you do? I imagine each one does something different. It gives you a different perspective.
Yeah, well, it's all about like your framework and your perspective, right? Like as people, as creatures, right? Like we're all just our perspectives.
Of course.
And so every time I get trained in something new, I learn a new way of looking at a problem. I learn a new way of looking at a person. And so it's all these little pieces that all fit together that help me get an even bigger picture of someone as a whole.
Well, and it's I would think as a therapist, you are growing with the people who are with you. Like you learn how they are learning how you are, but you continue to grow, they continue to grow as well. I just think that's awesome. Which one came first, the cosplay or the therapy?
Cosplay definitely came first.
Okay.
I've been cosplaying for about 12 years.
Got those wings there going on.
I've been cosplaying for about 12 years, and I've been working in mental health for about 6.
Okay.
And it's been within the last 3 years that I really intermingled the two. I really saw the significance of what it means to combine the two things.
So what does that mean to combine the two things? How is that different for you?
Yeah, well, it's really interesting because I've always really like connected with and loved like my fellow nerds, my fellow cosplayers, but I've seen how much cosplay has impacted my own mental health and how much it has helped me as a person to be able to express myself, come into myself. And so when I'm able to work with clients and be like, I get what you love so much, I see why these characters are so important to you, it makes for so much more of a rich discussion. You can see someone who is so closed off and like, I don't want to talk about in therapy, like I don't want to talk about my trauma, but then, I'm like, well, who's your favorite Spider-Man? And they're like, oh, I know that one, right?
That's great. That reminds me of my husband. He actually has been doing cosplay, and he took months getting ready to have this Magneto outfit, and of course he's perfecting every single moment of it, all the way up to the con, and it looks phenomenal. I think I see him coming out of his shell a little bit in a way that I hadn't seen before, which is really kind of cool. What was that moment you realized you wanted to be a therapist? When did that happen?
Yeah, so it's, a lot of us become therapists not under the best circumstances.
Of course.
So I decided to become a therapist when my first year of college, I lost my childhood best friend to suicide. And I realized, hey, I want to be the person that people get to come to talk about this stuff. Like, he wasn't able to get out of his head. And I want other people to have a safe person to talk to about that kind of dark stuff. And I already always knew I wanted to help people. I was originally going to go into like ophthalmology, but then I was like, no, I think I actually want to help people in the mental realm, not the physical.
So it's like you want to help people see, but see inside, not have to see outside.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's cool. What's your best advice for people here at the con? Because for me, and I remember my first DragonCon in 2007, it was overwhelming. It was a lot of stuff to do. How would you recommend someone adapt to that?
Yeah, my number one recommendation at cons, especially like big cons like this where there's so much going on, is to check in with yourself. Check in with your body. And a lot of people don't know what that means, but if you're tuning in right now, like, do it with me now. Put your feet flat on the ground, take a deep breath in, let a deep breath out, and just notice what's happening from the top of your head all the way to the bottom of your feet. And by checking in with ourselves, we can see what we need, right? Do we need water? Do we need to take our wig off? Do we need a binder break? Are you wearing shoes that are not serving you anymore, right? Like, cosplay can be so uncomfortable, and a lot of times we'll get overstimulated and upset and not even know why, because we're taking in so much, we don't know what's happening within us.
Wow. Yeah, for me, that first con, I would have benefited from that, and especially after the con. What was hard for me is I got here, it was so many people and it was overwhelming, but then I got used to that many people, and the next day they were all gone, and I got really depressed. It was awful, and I was like, it was just this odd thing for me, and I imagine that happens a little bit more than people might realize.
Oh, absolutely. The like post-con blues, the
Yes.
like come down from it is super common because all of our senses are flooded at events like this, right? Like it's loud, it's itchy, there's people everywhere, we're seeing things, we're smelling things, some not so great.
Please take a shower. I'm just saying, take a shower one a day. Just like you take your vitamin, take a shower.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But we're so overstimulated, we're bombarded, we're maybe running on a little bit of sleep, a little bit of food, and then when you go home, all of that is taken away.
Yes.
It's instantly like sensory deprivation. And so I encourage everybody to be kind to themselves and realize that your nervous system is gonna have to regulate after that, right? And if you're able to take like an extra day off, if you're able to give yourself like a break after work, you know, things like that are so crucial because it's scary when we don't know why it's happening.
Yes.
Right? It's scary when it's like, I'm feeling really depressed after the con and I don't know why because I thought I loved it, right?
Yes.
But when you know it's because you took in so much and now your nervous system is having to come down and re-regulate, it's a lot less scary.
It is, and you know, the con here has just got so much going on. What are some challenges you commonly see, not just at the con, but in the community as a whole?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's interesting. I mean, when you say like fandom, you know, that means like fanatic domain, right?
Yes,
It
yes.
means like not liking something in like a casual way.
Okay.
And so a lot of times with like the fandom and the nerd community and stuff like that is we can get so intense about things that other
Yes.
things can fall to the side,
Yes.
right? We can love something so much that we feel like we have to know everything about it, and we can stress ourselves out about making sure our cosplay is perfect.
Are you sure you don't have a hidden camera on my life or something going on? I'm just saying.
Yeah, right. It's so common. And you know, if you're a person who, like myself, has like I have ADHD and autism, if you have neurodivergent stuff going on, you can get so latched onto things that sometimes you lose sight of pieces of yourself or pieces of your life that are important to you because it's like this frantic thing.
Of course. And I think that what change would you like to see? How would the community best adapt?
The thing I would love to see in the
Or
community.
the fandom. I mean, the fandoms. The me's out there. How can I adapt? Tell me.
Yeah, the thing I want to see for people more than anything else is like just let yourself.
That was actually really nice.
like
Hello.
just let yourself take a breath.
Yes.
Let yourself enjoy the things that you love. Let other people enjoy the things that they love.
But shouldn't they all love my things? I'm just saying. Isn't this my world, right?
Don't you just have the right opinion on everything?
Exactly. See, you get me. You're going to have to be here every day. I need you there to just, to let others know how that is.
Right. But we would all just benefit so much from just like more checking in with yourself and more just chilling, right? Like it doesn't have to be like the grind and the hustle and the con crunch all the time.
That's great. And I wanted to take a moment because it means something to me. I noticed that, yes, you do focus on ADHD and autism, and it sounds like that's from personal experience.
Yeah.
I have ADHD, so I feel that. But I also noticed you work a lot with the LGBTQIA plus community, which is part of my community. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Why have you gone that route?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm a trans man and bisexual myself, and part of finding who I was through cosplay.
Wow.
And also, through my training in mental health and learning how different people's lives can be, how different your world can look. It doesn't have to be the shoebox that you grew up in of this is how a person looks and this is who a person loves. It's really important to me to advocate for the mental health of my community because I've seen how much I've needed it, right?
Yes.
I'm trying to be a person that I would have needed earlier in my life. And
that is awesome.
Yeah, and I didn't even come into myself until I was, in my 20s, and I really figured out through cosplay, hey, I'm I'm feeling more comfortable in in a masculine presenting way. I'm feeling more comfortable like this, and it's not like, oh, I'm an elf, right? It's like, oh, I've really realized, like, you know, I'm a man, and I feel more comfortable in myself, expressing myself in this way. And without cosplay, I might not would have landed there.
Wow, you know, that seems to me like the cosplay kind of allowed you to relax and find yourself, as you're saying, breathe in. You know, has that helped your mental health?
Oh, worlds. Like, the way cosplay has helped me has been crazy, because I've been able to go to events and be like, you know, I can dress however I want. And people are just going to be like, oh, I love that character. Like, oh, that's so cool. And it doesn't have to be like, you know, this like stressful, clinchy thing of like, am I going to be accepted? It's like, I am going to be accepted.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
This is where you're going to be accepted, and I love that. I love that. I noticed that you have a pretty active social media following.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so on social media, on Instagram, I'm cosplay.and.optimism. And so my whole thing is bringing optimism to the cosplay world. Like,
that's cool.
I love sharing like positive, encouraging affirmations and stuff on my stories. I like to share my personal experiences in the captions of my posts. It's, you know, it's like, it's personal, but it's also professional, because I'm like really wanting to be real and genuine in what my experiences has been, because people will, you know, learn from that. I know I've learned from other people's experiences probably more than anything.
I think that's amazing. I think what you do is amazing. Nick, thank you for joining us.
Thank
if there's
you.
anything you wanted to say that I didn't cover, anything you would tell someone about why getting therapy perhaps, or doing cosplay would help them, what would that be?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing that I would say is that you are important. And you are so freaking cool and so freaking amazing as the person that you are. You don't need cosplay to do that. Your character is not what is amazing, you are. And if you need help, if you're struggling, therapy does not have to be scary. There are therapists like myself who get it, who enjoy what you enjoy, and we want to support you, and we want you to love yourself, because I love you.
That's awesome. Nick, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Really appreciate having you.
Thank you.
All right, this just in, we're hearing yesterday we had a pretty big deal going on at wrestling, and I heard something about the death of DCW. Let's go check and see what happened.
TJ Garland with DCTV, and I'm here at DragonCon Wrestling. Can you tell me what you predict is going to go down here at DCW tonight?
Yeah, that Scott Crampton, is unjustifiably in a position that he'd rather not be in because he's not the queen. No, he's not,
Oh, baby, daddy, DCW is here to stay, because Fluffman's in the corner of AJ, not that doo-doo head Scott.
It's the last night AJ's ever gonna run DragonCon. We're taking over. We're taking this house.
Dude, I'm Team AJ all day.
That's a really good question. Everybody's talking about it. Is this the end of DragonCon wrestling? Well, we'll see.
We cannot control the future, but we can control our destiny. And Azrael said Scott's a dead man.
Hey, bring the camera over here. It's me, Scott E. Crampton, and tonight I'm taking over DCW, because this isn't a show, it's a funeral.
Can't believe it. What does that mean? That's the end of DCW. There's no more DragonCon wrestling. How are you feeling after this?
I mean, it's an upset. AJ, we're gonna miss you. I can't believe it. I mean, they had it in the bag, and we lost it. We lost it.
Thank you. It's all right. This is TJ Garland with DCTV signing off.
Thank you, TJ. I have to say, DragonCon wrestling is a great tradition that is going to be missed. So, we're going to move on. I can't dwell on that too much. The DragonCon Award nominee meet and greet is this evening, and if there's nothing else I want to tell you about, I want to tell you about that. It's at 7 p.m. tonight in the Westin Overlook, which means it's already started. Go check it out. It is amazing. It's a great opportunity. You can meet the authors, you can get a signed book, and of course, beware, much like myself, they're very verbose and will talk your ear off. So I hope that you get a chance to go over there. Before I sign off, though, join us tomorrow for the late show. We'll be outside in front of the parade right before it starts. It'll be at 9 a.m. And of course, you'll see me next tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. And we will be coming live to you from the Georgia Aquarium. So we are excited about that. We can't wait to see you. Have a great night.
Thank you.